Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, for you guys, is another movie review. Today we're finally tackling the next Evil Dead film, Evil Dead 2. Of course, directed by Sam Raimi. So I just watched this today on Blu-ray. The first one was on DVD. I have this one, and of course Evil Dead 3 or Army of Darkness on Blu-ray as well. So the first one, Evil Dead film, is not a fantastic film, but it is a staple in the horror genre, and it is a very well-made and very competent film, especially for Sam Raimi's first film. So going back to that, a lot of the great shots, a lot of great scenes that are, kind of in the first film. And the first Evil Dead film very much is a straight-up horror. There's a few goofy, comedic elements in there, but it really is trying to be a straight-up horror film. This, however, even though this picks up directly after the first one, literally 1 millisecond after the first one ends, after they do a little recap, Ash gets sent flying like a freaking idiot through the woods, then he gets possessed by one of the Deadites. This, even though it picks up right after, it very much is a horror film, but it's also more or less a comedy. A horror slash comedy. Again, the first one was strictly horror. This one is kind of a mix of both. And I enjoyed that, because the first one, because it was, trying to be straight up horror, it sometimes felt a little bit goofy, because it was trying to be so serious, Some of the action scenes and some of the writing and the acting just kind of felt a little bit off because it was trying to be super duper serious, and it kind of fell on its face a few times. This, embracing the fact that, yeah, it's supposed to be kind of effed up and creepy and eerie and scary, but it's also kind of goofy, You've got these weird-ass looking zombies, you've got stop motion, it's just weird dialogue, weird acting. It's supposed to be kind of goofy and silly, and I think a lot of the acting and the writing and the cinematography and the editing, it all really reflects that. The first Evil Dead film had a lot of good, not editing, it had good editing, but it had really good directing, right? Sam Raimi had a lot of great shots in there. And this has some good shots, but the thing that stands out most in Evil Dead 2 is not the cinematography, it's actually the editing. There's a lot of really good transitions, like one of the girls is getting chased, not, raped by a tree, but, dragged through the woods, and she's screaming, and she's about to hit, like, a big tree stump, and right as she's about to hit it, quick cuts to Ash kind of throwing something down and glass shattering. There's a lot of really good transitions, and they're kind of like that, where it kind of, you remember the movie Tintin, 2011 Tintin? One of my favorite films ever made. There's a lot of great transitions in that film, and it's kind of, similar to Evil Dead 2. Now, the acting is good. I think that, Bruce Campbell is just as good, if not better, than he was in Evil Dead 1. However, there are some scenes where, he's like, no! And, there's a lot of screaming, a lot of cheesiness. And, while that could be seen as a negative, like, oh, man, this is corny as hell, it is very much I think they were trying to go for that type of route, because it's supposed to be a little horror and a little bit of comedy. They're trying to balance the two together. And it is funny. I never found myself actually scared at all, maybe creeped out, because they're not pretty to look at, but, I was never scared at all. Even with the first one, I was never scared. Maybe I'm just a really manly man, I don't know, but I wasn't scared. I didn't really laugh too much either. It was funny, but it wasn't like a, ha! Kind of funny. It was more like a, kind of funny. Like Ash steps on a Deadite's hand, the freaking eye goes flying in the girl's mouth. It's kind of like a, kind of a chuckle kind of thing. Nothing straight up the funniest freaking thing in the world. But I do really like the fact that they weren't going to make a sequel. And they were like, how the heck do you continue? Ash fucking dies. And they're like, oh, I got it. Big brain moment. How about instead of Ash dying, he gets possessed by a Deadite, and then he kind of has to juggle that in there. That's really cool. I think that's a really good concept, how Ash kind of turns into a Deadite, kind of a zombie creature by, certain times. Of course, he kind of, there's this other kind of side plot of this one girl who's related to the main mom and dad, or the main man and husband and wife that kind of, founded the Necronomicon Book of the Dead, and the wife is, possessed and locked in the cellar, which is where Ash goes and has to beat the poop out of her, which is really funny. But I think that hillbilly backwards reject redneck guy, look, in most horror movies, you kind of root for the guys to be killed, right? Black dude, white guy, it doesn't matter. Girl, man, whatever. Normally, people in horror movies are stupid, and you want them to effing die. And I wanted this guy to die, because he was annoying. And I don't know if he was just chalking it up to bad writing, bad acting, or just simply a disposable character. But when he got shredded by that, that woman in the cellar, just blood shoots everywhere. I was like, thank fudge, that guy's dead. But the hot girl that he's with is kind of just there, You know, the other girl who's kind of like in charge of the whole thing, like, you know, she's related to the people who found the book. She's all right. You know, she's kind of a little bit more sensible, kind of like Ash. So you know, they're all right. But I found a lot of the main things with this film that I kind of really didn't like are the effects. You know, I mean, some of it is really cheesy, is stop motion. I get it. You know, they didn't really have CGI back then. I understand. They had to do what they had to do. But I think the only good thing about having kind of shitty VFX is that you can make something that looks intentionally good. You know, because let's be honest, you know, making stop motion, it looks a little bit wonky, but it takes a poop of a long time to make, let me tell you. It really does. You know, I don't do stop motion, but I can tell when something takes a while, and stop motion takes a while. It requires a lot of patience and key timing, and that definitely had a lot of key timing and patience in it, but it does look a little wacky. But again, the film's atmosphere, compared to the first one, which was just horror, this is more wacky, so I think it works. Going with that, you know, there's a few, like I said, the stop motion thing with the headless lady with the chainsaw. It looks passable enough, you know. I mean, like the big, you know, when the woman, like, you know, her head kind of like a giraffe spurts up. It looks kind of freaking dumb. But again, I think that's the vibe they were going for. But I do, like I said, the acting is good. The writing is okay. Some of it's kind of funny. Some of it's kind of eerie. Again, I wasn't laughing out loud. I wasn't scared out of my freaking pants. But this is the film where Ash started to not just be like some shy guy in the corner. You know, I mean, he got his freaking arm cut off. He's saying groovy. He's, you know, he's kind of becoming the cult character that we know him to be. And people, including myself now, like the character of Ash because of that. You know, I mean, this is really where he started to do that. Of course, this has the very iconic laughing scene where everything's laughing at him. It's kind of a neat scene because it really shows that Ash is losing his freaking marbles. And then, of course, you know, we get this huge, I mean, when he kind of, like, cut that weird, like, grandma thing up with the weird head, I thought that was it. And I sat there going, wow, that was kind of anticlimactic. And then the freaking tree busts through the wall, you know what I mean? And then Ash stabs the eye. The lady dies, gets the, you know, takes everyone back to the you know, old, like 1800 AD or something like that, 1300 AD, and then Ash gets sucked in, and I thought that was a really good way to end this film on a cliffhanger where he goes back to medieval times, which is when Army of Darkness picks up. Very freaking cool. I mean, Desolation of Smaug to Battle of the Five Armies, right? The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi. It's very much that kind of, it picks off directly after, and they set it up really well. I think that's a really cool plot device where they're kind of looking at the Necronomicon, or, you know, they're reading about the pages, and they're like, oh, there's a prophecy that this guy is going to kind of unite and destroy all the Deadites, and Ash is like, well, he did a bad job of doing it, and it's really cool because that was foreseeing and foretelling Ash doing that. You know what I mean? Ash Williams, that's what he was doing. I think that's really good, clever writing, and I think that the way they the way they end with like the two fists, you know, they're saying hoorah, and the two fists kind of pop up, and then it fades to black. There's a lot of great transitions, but that was a great freaking transition, man. The movie ends on such a climactic and epic note, and I cannot wait to watch Army of Darkness. Again, I really enjoyed Evil Dead for the horror, and I really enjoyed this movie for both the comedy and the horror. Not all of it's funny, not all of it's scary. Some of the writing's a little weird, some of the acting is a little bit over the top, some of the effects are a bit over the top, a little goofy, but I think that is honestly the vibe they were going for. Because Sam Raimi's not an idiot. He's a pretty good filmmaker. In fact, a very good, you know, I don't like the Spider-Man trilogy, but Evil Dead movies he's really freaking good at. Bruce Campbell's a pretty good actor, and I think, you know, him kind of saying, no, or just kind of being a little cheesy, that's not him being a bad actor. I think that's honestly the tone that Sam wanted to go for, and I think it works, you know. So a few negatives here or there. Again, I'm not entirely sure if that's what he wanted, but if it isn't, it's a bit cheesy, a bit bad. If it is, though, then he hasn't succeeded. It's a bit cheesy for a reason. The visual effects kind of being a little wonky really helped that aesthetic of that. Yeah, it's kind of goofy. It's kind of funny, you know what I mean? It's like a cartoon with extreme gore and the F word in it. You know, that's what it is. But I enjoyed it. It had great transitions, really good filmmaking skills here. You know, the farmer hillbilly guy, F that guy, he's kind of dumb. I'm glad he died. There's a lot of great fights, a lot of great ending, a really good end battle scene with that big tree thing in the house. Really cool. You know, and the fact that Ash is not in medieval times setting up for the third film, Army of Darkness. Very freaking cool stuff. I cannot wait to watch that. I'm going to watch that hopefully tomorrow morning, and it's going to be insane. So yeah, cannot wait. This is really a good franchise. I mean, I was really kind of expecting it to be kind of garbage, and you know, some of it doesn't hold up. Some of it's a bit cheesy. Some of it's a bit corny. But if that, you know, that might be the tone they're going for. But it is. It's goofy and corny, and I think that's a reason why it's so beloved, because can be freaky and it can be funny. It's just like a fun horror movie. You know what I mean? It's entertaining as hell to watch. And I cannot wait to watch Army of Darkness, aka Evil Dead 3. I do want to see the Evil Dead 2013 reboot. Hopefully when I go to the exchange one of these days, I'll pick that up. But still, great film. Evil Dead 2 really... I don't remember what I gave the first one, but I'm going to give Evil Dead 2 probably an A-. I think it was really good. A few, you know, really, really tiny things holding it back from being an A+, but I really enjoyed it. I think that this is where they started to really kind of figure out, okay, Ash is going to do this franchise is going to go in this direction. And I love the horror aspect of it, but I think that having horror/comedy really helps because it helps the visual effects to feel more at home, the writing, the acting, it's all kind of goofy and scary and funny and wacky. It's just a really crazy franchise. And, you know, there's a reason why it's so beloved and kind of a cult classic, because it's pretty darn good. So, again, tell me what you think about Evil Dead 2 in the comments down below. Can't wait to hear what you think. Again, I really enjoyed it. A-. Cannot wait to watch Army of Darkness, which some people said it's bad, some people said it's good. I don't know. But I think the way they left off this film with a cliffhanger that leads into it, pretty awesome. And I can't wait to watch it. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.